from heaven, and they saw all the death and destruction on the earth, and they said, man, this earth cries. Now, I want you to know that the Dead Sea Scrolls version, my wife likes the amplified version of the Bible. So this is an amplified version of the Dead Sea Scrolls translation. I've read it word for word and side by side, and you'll see in parentheses that the amplified version of it adds things like the archangels. And it just is a little bit, I love the way it sort of describes it. It reads so much better. It takes all the you seeketh blah, 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 and it'll say like you see blah, blah, blah. So I like the way that it reads as well too. So I hope that y'all have all been learning something every time I hear you. Thank you so much, Jamie. I certainly appreciate that, man. And I learned some stuff today, and I just can't go off on that tangent or I won't stop. I'm gonna read this because this is really cool. Y'all with me? Y'all got your study guide figured out? You had a vivid dream that you won a Bible last night. Didn't you win? JD, didn't you win a Bible? I thought you did. Hello, YouTube. I thought you did win a Bible. Cool. If you didn't, you might. And I don't mind doing that once or two nights a week, man, but it was almost like an auctioneer's call, and it really, to me, took away from the lesson a little bit, from me being able to talk. It was, yeah, go, ciao. And I just, good vibe. You're painting right now, man. You know what? I went to art school, and boy, howdy, I can't paint, draw, or none of that stuff. I went for video production and photography, but I'm terrible at that. God bless you for that painting. It's amazing skill. I just now connected the dots. Tell you one dots I connected the other day. I wrote this book. I'm gonna show you what I wrote. I wrote this book right here. It is the 7 seals as they apply through time. My son hasn't even seen this rough draft. It is the 7 seals as they go through the time. And man, I've got a great TikTok to send you. There's about 20 pages of information on each one of the seals, and I can tell you exactly where we are with the seals, but I'm not going to do that unless I explain through this, and it'll take me about 30 minutes to go down that road with you, but I just want you to know, when I read it to you, you're going to freak out. And I totally pegged that one. Just do it. Click 7 seals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, that's where the sword of, you know. Let me see. We're going to go start a lesson right here. I received my Bible today. Thank you so much. You know what, Arkansas GD, I certainly appreciate that, man. Those are cool Bibles that we sent out. And I'm ready for that. Georgia Peaches, I tell you what, man. The seals, oh, you're going to die. You're going to die. You're going to die. It's such a cool book. It's such a cool book. The 7,000 years. We're on the 6th day. A day is like 1,000 years. 7 seals. Ooh, hot diggity dog. Hot diggity dog. If you open the first seal on the first day, ooh, you're going to pop that 6th seal in 2033. 7th seal. Daily inspiration. Thank you so much. All right. Let's read this. This is the Intercession of Angels, Enoch, chapter 4. The archangels, Michael, Uriel, Raphael, and Gabriel, looked down from the heavens, from their dwelling in the high and holy place, and they saw that much blood was being shed on the earth through violence, murder, and war, and that lawlessness, wickedness, and rebellion was being carried out across the face of the whole world. And that they said to one another, behold, the earth, though it was created to be filled and inhabited, now cries out in distress and grief, that the voices of those slain cry out in lamentation, and their cries ascend all the way up to the gates of heaven, seeking justice. Now see this amplified version, those were the things, seeking justice, and these in parentheses. So that's really what helps explain this to my wife. And I hope that's helping you too. And now it is to you, the holy ones of heaven, the divine beings in your presence, the souls of mankind present their case, making supplication and entreaty, present our case, our plea for justice before the Most High, God, the Supreme Judge. And they, the holy angels, spoke and said to the Lord of ages, you are the Lord of lords, God of gods, King of kings, and God ever after. God everlasting, your throne of glory remains unshaken and is established throughout all generations of eternity, and your name is holy, glorious, and forever blessed. You have created all things by your wisdom and sovereign power, and you have dominion and authority over all. All things are revealed before you. Nothing is hidden from your all-seeing eyes. Everything lies open and bare in your sight. Right there. Read right there. I'm going to read this last bottle. And they, the holy angels, spoke. I just said that, in your sight. You see what Azazel has done. He has taught all kinds of wickedness and unrighteousness upon the earth, and he has revealed eternal secrets, divine mysteries that were stored in heaven, which men were not meant to know, but eagerly sought to learn. And Samlazaz, the leader of the rebellious watchers, to whom you gave permission and authority to rule over his fellow fallen ones. Right there. And you know what? I just still can't even say that word right there. Sam Lazaz. Sam Lazaz. I don't even want to say his name again because he's dummy. He's a dummy. Come on, we're going to keep going, man. You're probably knows globe is a lie. I do know that. You know what? I don't want to tell you that anything's a lie, but if you think you know what shape this earth is, I know enough to win both sides of the argument, and I can tell you we live in a realm, man, a kingdom of God, and if you got the brains enough to explain to me how to build a blade of grass or how to make a heartbeat in the middle of the counter, I probably would believe you if you told me about the earth. But I just want you to know, man, I think that's put up there. No, nobody went to the moon. The dudes that were hanging on the little string, they didn't make it up there. It is in a firmament, and the planets are in the firmament, and there is water above the firmament. Those are all things that are written. That's the word of God. You just need to know that. Go to the bank on it, and just go to the bank and get a loan on it right there. But as far as boiling it back down to what shape this thing is right here, you know, I don't know. Job, he didn't know. God even said, where were you when I held back the sea and held back the wind, and who was there to lay a tape upon it? Were you there? And he was like, which is exactly what you would be doing if you were decided that you knew something, because he'd go and, man, y'all don't know anything. How do you make an acorn? Come on, how do you make an acorn? And you'd be like, oh man, I don't even know what the crap is in an acorn. I'm 100. Did I get a 100 on that? Where were you? I must be lost in the conversation. I'm not going to try unless I pin them up. You pin them up, I read to you. Let's go. These watchers, the angels who rebelled, have descended to the daughters of mankind upon the earth and have taken them as wives and laid with them. Defiling themselves through sexual union, they revealed to the women all manner of forbidden knowledge and practices, and from this union were born giants, Nephilim, violent and destructive beings, and through them the whole world has become defiled with bloodshed, corruption, and unrighteousness. Now behold, the souls of those who have died, the victims of this evil, cry out, making their supplications at the heavenly gates. Their mourning and lamentations ascended constantly, without ceasing, because of the atrocities and lawless deeds committed on the earth. And you, O Lord, know all things, even before they come to pass. You see these things happening now, yet you allow them to continue. You have not told us, the holy ones, that we are to do what we are to do with these transgressors in response to their deeds. Then the Holy One, the Great One, spoke and gave a commandment. He sent Uriel, the son of Lamechek, saying, go to Noah and speak to him in my name, saying to him, hide yourself, take shelter, and prepare, and reveal to him the end that is approaching. and that the entire earth is about to be destroyed by the great deluge, a flood, and that all living things on it will perish. But instruct him carefully that he may escape, and his seed, his descendants, by the preserved for and may be preserved for all future generations. But again the Lord said to Raphael, bind Azazel, hand and foot, rendering him powerless, and cast him into the darkness, a pit of judgment. Make a hole, an opening in the desert, specifically in the region called Dudil, and throw him into it. Pile upon him sharp, jagged stones, and cover him in utter darkness. Let him dwell there forever, and veil his face so that he may never be seen again, never see again the light of day. And on that day, and on the day of great judgment, the day of the Lord, the final reckoning, he shall be cast into a burning fire. So that's Azazel, and that Dudil place right there over my shoulder. I got that place right here. That Dudil. We should go to Dudil. That Dudil. That's where they are. Sea of Tiberias is right over there. If you look at it. And this one, thank you so much for the gifts. I certainly appreciate that. And that's the Sea of Tiberias. That's the Jordan River. And that's Dudil in here. This one. That is Dudil. There's a hole. There's a hole. And I meant that in the best way in the world. Okay. And then this is the place that we just read, and it is the kettle, and it is the cauldron of God right there. So just notice where they said pile them up at. And that is awesome, man. Wow. I can't believe that. That is so cool. Look at this place right here. This is in Dudil. That's where they're at. There's their little, that's their condo with the beach and the little lake. This is in a desert now, okay? Know that. I love that when people say the shape of the earth. You got to do with flat water level. A lot of people say water level. Water's always level. You tell me why the Dead Sea is 1,480 feet below sea level. The Sahara Desert's like 500 feet below sea level. Somebody ought to dig one of those little ditches over there, fill it up with water, and it would be an ocean that would be 400 feet deep, the Sahara Desert would. How about that? Doesn't TT take 40%? No, TikTok takes 40%. They take 60%. They do. They are ruthless. That's why they'll never sell that thing, man. It makes a fortune. This is in the Desert of Dudil. They call it Negev right there, but that's exactly where those stones, look at the sharp, jagged stones. I mean, where do they come from? You can't build nothing with that. And we just read them, and they were, I sort of zoomed into that, didn't I? Yeah. Go buy him in Dudil, in a region called Dudil. Throw him, dig a hole in Dudil, and put a pile of rocks on top of him. Let's go there. That's Dudil. That's Tiberias right there. And then this one, Dudil. That's the Sea of Tiberias. That's the Jordan River. That's the Sea of Galilee right down there. Those little black things right there, those were in that video. They're little piles of black rocks, and there's a hole right there. Just like it says. Teach one. Put that. Whatever. And people just think I'm crazy. I'm like, oh, you read that, and then you go ask it where Dudil is, and tell you. I hope y'all like the way that I read the Bible. I literally let you read it right with me. The third page. It's good. GT8 pack. I love you so much. That's my wife. So sweet. So just the best thing. Poor thing's been sick all for a week. And I hope she feels better. She that word in my heart, it was just lightning in there and she didn't feel good, so I went and sat with her for a little bit. I certainly appreciate all of y'all sticking around and learning the Book of Enoch with me. Thank you so much. I certainly appreciate it. What I missed? You didn't miss nothing. Couple of pages. We're on verse 11 right now. Enoch chapter 4, binding Azazel. And we are all under attack. Well, I guarantee you. We are all under attack. And y'all hear that ceiling fan? Because I'm hot in here. Hope that didn't tear up the thing. Too bad. This is my Tuesday night class, so I really do appreciate this one. My Wednesday night class. This book of Enoch, I'm going to tell you something though. This tells you some good things. It just sort of talks about the fallen angels and what happened to them. The Thursday night class, the Acts of Pilate, and the descension into hell. Well, don't miss Thursday, boy. Don't miss Thursday. That one is, gosh, that's just such a great piece of work. But all the stuff that I'm reading for you, this is Dead Sea Scrolls material. This is something that was verified in 1940s and 50s. I mean, everybody in the world that was anybody went to the Qumran Valley into the Dead Sea Scrolls to try to find some secrets of David, and they all verified that these books were legitimate and that were over 2,000 years old. So, all right. And we just left off with Azazel being bound up. And it said, and heal the earth, which the angels, the watchers, have corrupted and poisoned. Proclaim and bring forth the healing of the land, so that the affliction may be removed, and that mankind may not perish due to the destructive knowledge that the watchers have disclosed and taught to their sons. Indeed, the entire earth has been ruined and stained by the works taught by Azazel. Therefore, attribute all sin to him. And to Gabriel the Lord said, proceed against the bastards. The illegitimate, and I don't think that he would have used that word. And again, this is an amplified version of this, but I would probably put a better word than it. And Gabriel said, proceed against the illegitimate offspring and reprobates, those utterly lost to the wickedness, and the children born from the union of the angels and women. Destroy these offspring, the children of fornication, by causing them to war against one another. Set them against each other in battle so that they kill each other. For they shall not have a long life nor extended years. And do not accept any petition or request on their behalf, even from their fathers, the watchers. For they hope in vain to obtain eternal life, imagining that each for them that they may live 500 years. And the Lord said to Michael, go bind Samlazaz. I can't even say that word right. Samlazaz and his companions, those who have defiled themselves by taking wives from among the daughters of men, and who have corrupted themselves with every kind of uncleanliness, and their sons have slaughtered one another, and they witness the ruin of their beloved children. Bind them securely for 70 generations, a symbolic fulfillment of time, and confine them in the valleys of the earth, deep prisons underground, until the day of their final judgment and everlasting condemnation. Then they shall be cast into the eternal abyss of fire to suffer torment and imprisonment forever and ever. I'm going to tell you one thing. It says 70 generations. And me and you're sitting there going, well, we live 80 years and a generation would be 40 years long. So those dudes lived 1,000 years. And it says that Adam lived like 3 days short of 1,000 years, which was like 970 years or something, because he had sinned on the day that he sinned, he died. So just know that 70 generations would be 7,000 years. And I sort of feel like that number 7 and 70, that's just something that's going to come up over and over again, and you're going to find out that it's all on the seventh day. And as we approach the 7,000th year, understand that that's going to be a big turning point for us. Enoch chapter 4 is where we're on. If you haven't downloaded the study guide, it's right up there on my bio page. You click on my link tree and you can download that. And this is Enoch chapter 4. And I'm trying to press through this because it's a pretty long chapter. But this is just telling where the angels were bound and where they're binding them and all of the punishments that are to be executed against them and what they were being held for. But one of the punishments was to watch their own children commit war on each other and perish. And I think that was, what he said the punishment would be was you get to watch your children do that to each other. And you're so proud of them, and you're going to watch them slay each other. So awesome. Kenneth Walters, I certainly appreciate. Randy Staley, you're always in there. I certainly appreciate that. And I really do want to stay and keep reading this, and then I'm going to pull my head up and start answering some questions. And mostly the questions are, why was this ever taken out of the Bible? And I just want you to know that we're not reading anything in here. There's nothing that you're going to read in here that says, hey, man, go shake snakes at people and go build a pyramid, and nothing crazy. It just tells you an accented story of Genesis 6:4. And it tells you about the fallen angels and the punishment and why God flooded the earth. And we're supposed to believe. Time for Arlo. Where's he at? Arlo. I'll get somebody to bring him in here. Let me read this one more page, and I guarantee you Gigi will come walking in here in just one more minute. Y'all still hearing me good? Everything okay? I love y'all. Thank you so much. Disco. Got to keep up with all these people coming in the room. Thank you so much. And all who are condemned, those found guilty and destroyed, shall be bound together with them in chains of judgment. And this punishment shall extend to the end of all generations. Destroy all the spiritual offspring of the wicked, the spirits of the reprobate, and the children of the watchers, for they have brought grievous harm and injustice to mankind. Wipe away all unrighteousness from the face of the earth. Bring every evil deed and wicked work to an end. Let the plant of righteousness, symbolizing the holy offspring and truth, spring forth and flourish. It shall bring blessing to the world, and all the works of righteousness and truth shall be sown in the land and shall bear fruit and joy forevermore. Then all the righteous, those who are upright and blameless, shall be delivered and preserved. They shall live long lives, begetting thousands of children, and they shall enjoy peace and complete all their days, both in youth and in old age. Then the entire earth shall be cultivated in righteousness. The soil will be fruitful and productive, and all will be filled with trees and overflowing with blessings. Every kind of desirable tree shall be planted upon it, and the vineyard shall be established. The vine shall yield abundant wine, and every measure of seed shall produce 1,000-fold. And a single measure of olives shall produce 10 presses full of oil. Cleanse the earth completely. Remove all oppression, injustice, unrighteousness, sin, ungodliness, and impurity. Destroy every stain and corruption from off the earth. All the children of men shall become righteous, and all the nations of the world shall worship me. They shall offer adoration and praise, and give glory to my name. The earth shall be purified, free from all defilement, all sin, all punishment, and all torment. And I will never again bring destruction upon it for the generation, from generation to generation, forever. That's that last piece right there. And that ultimately does happen. And of course, we always ruin everything. Hamburger pizza, Dad. I need a kiss, Dad. I do, Dad. I do. I love you. I love you, Arlo. Dude. You gonna read with Daddy? Don't leave me. Don't leave me. Dad, I don't like them stupid headphones on. If you take them headphones off, I'll stay right there. He don't want to stay up there. He wants to stay with his mama sometimes. But you know what? He puts up with me pretty good bit. Let's see if I can get him to stay right there and read this. Arlo's such a sweetheart. I love him. He's been on my shoulder his whole life. Um, Let me read this. This is the last piece about that, and I'll read this through this page. There he goes. He wants to sit behind me now. Now he's stuck behind my back. He likes to lay there. That's how he spoons when he sleeps with you at night. He sleeps like spoons. Arlo, he's a sweet dog too. Be a little dog, 3.5 pounds, man. He holds the bathroom from 9 o'clock at night until 9 o'clock the next day, man. He's amazing. I love him. Hey, AJ, I'm working on getting a green screen for the YouTube people. I love the fact that he's able to post comments and all. We're just learning this right now, and y'all are learning it with us. I gotta push this piece of puzzle here. That means I've been on for an hour, 55 minutes. All right. Let's read this last piece right here. And this is just great. Any questions that we got so far? 2-ton heart, JD. 2-ton heart. La la la. This freaking guy. What'd you call me? This freaking guy. My good thing. Was that a good thing? Oh, that's your name. This freaking guy. You shared a live. You did share it. Oh, I see all these comments. These are all my best people. That looks like Georgia Peaches, but I can't see what it says. It just says hearts. I love you to death. All right, KC Disco. I got off work and too late. Dang it. No, you didn't, Robbie. We'll put this on YouTube for you. We're right here on the next to the last page. And it just told where Azazel and Daryl got bound and where they got thrown into the desert in a hole. And this is fascinating. I certainly appreciate all of the help. And Arlo is still literally right behind me like a spoon. Now I can't crush him. You gotta watch out for him. Let's read this real quick. Since he's gone, I can put these on. It lets me know when I'm over the microphone, right? And in those days I will open up to the storehouses and the treasure chambers of the blessings that are in heavens, and I will send them down upon the earth to enrich the labor and works of men. And truth and peace, the twin virtues of divine order, shall dwell together in unity throughout all the days of the world and across all generations of mankind. Before all these things happened, Enoch had already been hidden away, taken from among men, and none of the children of men knew where he had gone, nor where he was dwelling, nor what had become of him. His activities and divine assignments were with the watchers, the holy and fallen angels, and his time was spent among the holy ones of heaven. Now, if y'all remember that they took and conducted Enoch into the Garden of Eden, and he was into the Garden of Eden. I believe that was Jubilees chapter 7, and there he sits and writes the testaments of the world. So that was in the Book of Jubilees that we read, right? It's all been written. It sure has been. And I, Enoch, was blessed and exalted the Lord of majesty, and the King of ages exalted his glorious name, when suddenly the watchers called out to me. They addressed me, saying, Enoch, you are the scribe of the righteous, chosen to record the words of God. Go and declare to the watchers of heaven that those who have left their lofty and eternal home in the heavens, and who have defiled themselves by laying with women as though they were men, taking wives for themselves from among the daughters of mankind. And so say to them these words from the Lord: you have committed great destruction upon the earth, and you shall never again find peace. You shall receive no forgiveness for your sins. Your transgressions are irrevocable. And since you delight in your children, those monstrous offspring, which the union of the daughters of men, you shall now witness their slaughter. The murder of your beloved ones shall be laid before your eyes, and you shall weep and mourn for them. You shall make supplication, begging for mercy forever, but no mercy or peace shall ever be granted to you. And I, Enoch, went to them and declared, Azazel, you shall have no peace. A severe and unalterable sentence has already gone forth against you to bind you in chains. You shall receive no tolerance, no mercy, and no request of yours will be heard or granted. For because of the unrighteousness you have taught to men, because of all your acts of godliness and godlessness and lawlessness, You have corrupted the earth and led many astray. So that's what Azazel got heard right there. You know, we actually did make it through this pretty good, and I am so glad that y'all got to tune into this. You just tell me if there's anything that says it bound the angels underneath the rivers of the Euphrates and all this stuff. That's not in Genesis 6:4. That's later on, and here you're reading it right now, where they bound them in the rivers and where they were bound. It just actually tells you right here on this next page. It tells you. I touch it. That one right there. Right there. And I awoke and I went to them, and I found them all gathered, sitting in the sorrow, weeping in the place called Absjail, which lies between Lebanon and Sincere. Their faces were veiled in shame. Right there. You just go look up that place between Lebanon and Sincere, and just know that in that this scroll that says that was buried for 2,000 years along the Dead Sea Scroll, along the Dead Sea, and we found it, and not we found it, some Bedouin shepherd guy found it, and right after the Second World War. So buried in a cave for thousands of years is the exact place where he went and read Mount Hermon and all of those things. I just want you to know that's where it's coming from. This is not a Bill and Ted's Great Adventure, and they found the book in the trash can. This was caves and caves and thousands of scrolls and millions of pieces of fragments of scrolls, and they put those together and said that the book of Enoch, the book of Jubilees, the book of Genesis, and the book of Exodus were all there in almost matched quantity. So Genesis, Exodus, Jubilees, and Enoch were there in about 18 copies apiece, and those holes are pretty scary, actually, in the desert. I know. I want to show them to you. This, it says go bury him in that area of Absjail. Where is it? That's Absjail. Dudil is what it said. Dudil. Malcolm. And then that's Tiberias, so it's right here. And then this one is the hole. It's just one hole. I mean, there's a bunch of them. When I did that video, there's another big hole. It looks, you can see all the lime rock out of the middle of it all. It's good way down into it. Those holes are scary. And they're exactly where they said that they would be. So just know that. I heard that. That sounded like a big gift. I certainly appreciate it. Push the last button and it makes this one go bow. I'm going to read that. Because this right here tells you about where he went. You know, they descended on Mount Hermon. And that was in the first chapter when the 200 angels descended onto Mount Hermon. So are they still there? I don't know. The holes are still there. Those are still in the hole. I don't know if they're still in the holes. What? Oh, that was lightning, boy. You don't like that, did you? Hold on. You better run in there and get with your mama.
Get in here.
I just scared him.
Was
that lightning?
That was a big one, yeah.
Oh, we got a lightning storm. The devil doesn't like me reading about him. Don't, boy. He's in a panic. He's pushing the panic button. He's like, oh, man, the trumpet. That dude is blowing the trumpet. I love it. I'm going to read right here. AJ's over there pushing button on this thing. And I'm going to read right here. Right there. Then I went and spoke to all of them together, and great fear seized them. They were terrified, stricken with trembling, and they pleaded with me to write out a petition on their behalf, that they might find forgiveness. They begged me to read their petition in the presence of the Lord of heaven, hoping for a pardon and the reversal of judgment. From that point onward, they were no longer able to speak directly with God. They could not lift up their eyes to heaven. You know what? I wrote the word reflecting pool right there. And I always knew that out in front of Washington, it was called the reflection pool. And I'm like, no, what is reflecting? And it was so that they could look in the water and see the heavens. They were looking for the reflection of heaven because they couldn't look up. They couldn't lift their eyes to heaven. I know. That's my wife. I told her, man, I'm getting ready to knock the seven seals out of the park, bro. This is so good. But they did. They couldn't lift their eyes up to heaven, for they were filled with shame over their sins, and they had already been condemned. So I just put that little thing in there. It just makes me think that's what the reflecting pools were for, so that they could reflect heaven and they could look down because they were full of shame and they could not lift their eyes up to heaven. There's one right there behind the Capitol in front of the big obelisk in Washington, D.C. Lincoln, he stares right over it, facing east, with his back to the temple, which it says don't do that. So I wrote out their petition and prayer concerning their souls and record of their deeds one by one. I wrote out their personal request for pardon and for length of life, though they had no authority to ask such things. Then I went and sat down at the waters of Dan. Oh, I love that. The tribe of Dan right there. In the land of Dan, which lies to the southwest of Mount Hermon. There I read their petition aloud, reciting it repeatedly until I fell asleep. And behold, a dream came to me. Visions of warning and divine judgment fell upon me. And I heard a voice commanding me to bring the message to the sons of heaven and to rebuke them sharply. And when I awoke, I went to them and found them all gathered together, sitting in sorrow, weeping, in a place called Abschail, which lies between Lebanon and Sincere. Their faces were veiled in shame. Then I declared to them all the visions that I had been shown to me in my sleep, and I began to speak the words of righteousness. I rebuked and corrected the heavenly watchers, proclaiming the truth of their judgment. And they didn't like it, and they revolted, and they were going to slay Enoch for bringing that bad word, and he was taken up to keep him from being eaten up. He was getting ready to get the hit. He was getting ready to get hit. All right. We did. We made it right through that. We made it through. Knocked it through. Can I get 1 in a million taps? Can he get 1 million? Are we anywhere near that? I was about to say, if we're anywhere near that, I would like to see that. What I want to do is start answering some of y'all's questions. We read through this as the 3rd chapter. I can tell you the Book of Enoch, the last chapter it's only 7 chapters, but the 7th chapter it's like 60 something chapters long, man. So it's going to be a super long show. But it doesn't go off on a tangent. It literally just explains a small piece of time when the Watchers sort of defiled the earth. What's the name of the area with the holes for today? I'll show you. It is, I'll show you. The verse says Dudil, okay? And now they call that, I got it. It's Neville or something like that. Hang on. Push this one. Negev. It's Negev. And it's outside of Beersheba. So, I mean, and this is the desert, man. This is, I just thought this place was super crazy. Look at that. Look at that. Look how low those people are, man. This is a desert. This is in the desert. Look at this. Like a lake. And a condominium right there. All right. And then that's the hole. That's just one. I mean, look at that's a mountain. And then that's a big hole. Camel. Is that an angel? I don't know. Could any of the giants' DNA, any of us today, or was it destroyed? No, man, the giants weren't destroyed. Moses sent the spies into the land of Canaan. They came back and said, dude, we look like grasshoppers compared to those people. I know, those pictures are awesome. I certainly appreciate Dudil. No, it's a different word. Dudil. El means something. El is the deity, and Duda is the pot, the cauldron of God. The dude is the kettle. Dude, damn. Everyone, Have you read Jasher? I've not. I read bits and pieces of it, but it wasn't found in the Dead Sea Scrolls, so I don't read it. I do read the Book of Gad, though, and it's not in the Dead Sea Scrolls. Is it safe to say Adam named? Ooh, Adam named what? I missed that. Have you read? Yes, Randy, I have read that, but it's sort of like the Book of Gad. You got to be careful with that because you don't really know if you're getting the Dead Sea Scrolls. Is it safe to say Adam named the land masses too? It doesn't. I don't think it says that he named the land. I don't think anybody really. I don't remember them giving it a name. I knew they drew lots for it and they described it, but I don't think they said like that's Georgia or something like that. But that's what I say happened. Rome. I love that. Hope you're in Rome. I love Rome. And that is what we're answering questions for. People talking about Peter going to Rome. Peter doesn't never go to Rome in the Bible. He never did. Me either, just wondering. What were you wondering? Rome. And I tell you what, if you've got a just wondering question, I get a lot of those, man. Y'all please read them to me. I have been trying to do the math on the generations of the fallen angels, that the fallen angels will be held. You know, Dudil is responsible for imprisonment. Oh, nice. I like it. That's the bailiff or the judge. No. No, it's let me see what's on my pictures over here. It says the four horses of the apocalypse. And they are those colors right there. They sure are. There's a bunch of flags that are in that whole area right there that are those colors in the apocalypse. And a lot of people, somebody asked me if are we in the short season. Just know that it says the short season is 1,000 years after the first resurrection, and that was when Christ got out of the grave in 33 AD. And in 1033 AD, there was a huge earthquake right over Jerusalem, and everybody was expecting, Christ to return after the 1,000 years. And it was the release of Satan, man. And it sure did. There's a whole bunch of stuff that goes with that explains this little season. The women of the fallen chose to become sirens. I don't think they chose to become sirens. It says in Jubilees that they were made sirens. And I don't think they got to choose anything. I think they were sentenced. And those were some of the ones that tells all through there. Billy that says that they were taught the enchantments and how to cut roots. And how to make spells, and even says in the Book of Enoch right here that the women were taught special things and proclaim men perish. Yeah, and I'll then destroy the spiritual wickedness. I forget, I just read that with me. I love reading that stuff, man. And there's nothing in there. Has anybody read anything in the Book of Enoch? Or in Enoch 1, or in the Book of Jubilees that you just found I can't tolerate or I can't believe? So are herbal remedies good or bad? I would think the herbal remedies are good. I enjoy every one of them that I can take, but I can assure you God put everything we need on this earth. So like the cure to cancer got to be in the ocean or something like that. I don't think it's some mix or debauchery or any of that stuff. I think I saw that the pharaohs were buried with a stomach full of pumpkin seeds, and I was like, what does that do? And I looked it up. Have you ever made any content on space with the Bible worldview? Content on space with a biblical worldview. It's not so much space. I love the firmament and this old Bible right here. It says expanse. And this is the old Hebrew Bible. And it says expanse. It doesn't use the word firmament. And he put something in between the waters, and it expanded, and it had waters above the firmament and the waters below. So when you use the word expanse, it makes you think that it expanded and that it got bigger. So, a lot of people put a round shape to that. Some people put a flat shape to that. I honestly don't know. I could care less. It doesn't buy me 1 day of time. Doesn't buy me 10 minutes of time on this planet. Oh, I was telling you about the pumpkin seeds, man. They don't. They cause you not to have worms, and they kill worms, intestinal worms. And one of those dudes was like Herod or somebody was eaten by worms. And I was like, why would they bury this Pharaoh dude stuffed him full of pumpkin seeds? So I got some and ate them the other day to get rid of whatever worm I had. A realm, we live in a realm, and you said the word that I love it. I love that word. We live in a realm, man. We can't even describe how to build a blade of grass. We don't know how to build an acorn. Nobody on the planet knows how to create any daggone thing. And we're trying to sit here and figure out, hey, I know exactly how the whole thing spins around. No, you don't. Man, you got this thing spinning around. You got a tree breathing what you don't breathe and breathing what we breathe and back and forth and all this stuff. And you think you got this thing figured out and just wasting your time trying to figure out how big this planet is or what shape it is. Just sort of crazy. It doesn't get me anywhere. And God is the only one that knows. There's nothing new under the sun. Nothing new under the sun, I guarantee you. And that is, nobody knows that. I hate for people to get off on those tangents. It's not going to buy you a minute of time on earth if you can tell me what shape it is. I really do know enough of both sides of the argument. I can tell you, if we're spinning around as fast as they say we did, a sundial should be a comical thing. It should have a little, it should be spinning around. And if it's not something where we can see the other side of the expanse, I don't know why we can't see the Southern Cross from the Northern Hemisphere. It's somewhere else in the sky. But those are just the simple little things. The Georgia Guidestones, you could always look through one little hole. Okay, that stops the spinning thing. And it does say that the planets operate on their course and rotate on their course and their given course, the stars and all of that stuff. So it says that the waters run their course and the tides run their course and the moon and the sun and all. So I just know that those things are what it says, and I read the word. I do not like what man says. Man, and he'll tell you to go put on a mask and stay in the house for 2 weeks to curb the spread. I did that. I didn't take anything else, but I did that, kind of do my part and put on a paper mask that was supposed to protect you from a virus, and somebody could poop next to you and you'd smell it and go, did I just catch a virus from you? I took asbestos abatement courses and lead abatement courses. I know what a real mask is, and those nothing to do. Any idea what the mark of God is? I tell you what, the mark of God, no, I don't know what that is. It says that that will be put on us. The mark of God, the mark of the devil that says they're going to put in their forehead. Goliath, he had a little mark put in his forehead, and he was out there talking trash about the Lord for like 40 days, man, and 40 is a big deal. So he was talking trash for 40 days, and he got that mark right there. But I do not know what the mark of God is. It's going to be in your head or in your wrist is what the mark of the beast is. It's in your head. So, if the mark of God is in your head, it's going to be your actions. It's going to be in your thoughts. If it's in your wrist, it's going to be in your actions. So just know that, I walk up, I had on my children call them my Jesus clothes. It's the cheap clothes I bought off of TikTok. It was a blue Kufandi thing. And I love wearing that stuff. It looks like pajamas. And my son, he goes, those look like pajamas. And I was like, they don't come off as like I'm ready to, being combative. I saw a video that said Jonah died in the whale and resurrected, and he was spit out. I tell you what, I believe that Jonah. Well, I don't believe. When you read Jonah in the first chapter, it says the whale took him to the bottom of the ocean, and he went behind the gates that were at the bottom of the sea. So he got locked away, and when he felt total separation, I believe that he had died. And man, I tell you what, when he got cast back out, when he got given his second chance, I assure you, whatever he saw was so convincing to hear him retell that story. It'd almost be like if you actually witnessed a horrific crime or something like that, and how you would just be stuttering and going, and you would be telling the story. And if you didn't witness a crime, you would be more like Jesse Smollett going, hey, no, it was like, it was really bad there. And I think that he was just totally tripped out whenever he walked up and probably had fish guts and smelled like hell, and literally, and said, you have to do this or either your whole city of Nineveh is going to be destroyed. And he convinced the king of Nineveh to dress in sackcloth and ashes. And the king told everybody in the city of Nineveh and the animals to dress in sackcloth and ashes for a day. And God did not destroy the city because of that. And I'm going to tell you that Jonah had to be very, very convincing to do that. Do you think our ascension could mimic Jesus 40 days after Easter this year? I don't think our ascension would mention that. But then again, I'm just me. I haven't read that, and I think about the things that I've read, and it says that he's coming back, or not? He's coming back. It says the devil is released after two 1,000-year periods. And hallelujah, we know the church got started, 2,000 people that saw the resurrection. I know the church did get started, and they went to Antioch, and we were first called Christians in Antioch. And it's just an amazing story to read that too. So I certainly appreciate all of y'all input in here. As soon as I get questions about, the different older books of the Bible, why they weren't in here, the Book of Jubilees, and why did they take that out? It just makes all the sense in the world. It says that the enemy will come to you as a bearer of light. Says the enemy will come to you as a bearer of light. That almost sounds like 1 Peter 5:8, where it says, be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, as a lion, walks around, your adversary, the devil, as a lion, walks around seeking whom he may devour. And it's just very true, man, that the devil walks around as a roaring lion. He's going to look just like somebody that you would trust, man, just like the Lion of Judah. And he's going to walk around just as a lion. Off topic, can I still celebrate Christmas and put up a tree? I honestly think that the whole thing where it's speaking about where they say you take a piece of wood and deck it with silver and gold, that's literally talking about building a statue and shaping the wood and then plating it. And it also uses the word foundry, which is where they form and shape metals. And it says don't plate wooden things with metal, is what it's saying. And it just does it in such an antiquated way. But gosh, half of the things that Solomon did in the Bible, which he broke every rule that you could break, he built all of that temple. A lot of it was built out of the cedars of Lebanon, and he covered them with gold. Why does Genesis say replenish the earth? And does that mean that there was life before? I don't think that there was life before. Sorry about that. I don't think that there was life before humans. I do know that the angels said, hey, let us make man in our image. Let us make them in our image. And, they were probably hanging around. And there's a, butt ton of them. And then I do believe that mankind was created and that God built a perfect garden to put them in and separated them. And then whenever they were kicked out of the garden, Cain said, hey, I need you to put a mark on my forehead so that, there's your mark on the forehead thing, so that they won't kill me. Well, if you read the Bible, it's, Adam and Eve, And, Cain is the only other person who just killed his brother. Yes, can you remind me of the dates that you have for the 2,000 years? Yeah, sure. And the dates that I have for the 2,000 years, you'll love this one. I'm really working on the 10 seals. And I think that they're per every 1,000 years. But, I got this for you. I got a copy of the Book of Revelation. Let's read that right here. Push this one. There you go. There's the first 1,000 years. Is the first resurrection right there. What does this button right there? There you go. But the rest of the dead live again until the 1,000 years are finished. This is the first resurrection. So after the 1,000 years, 1,000 years after the crucifixion, that's when the rest of the dead yet live again. And that's called the first resurrection. And then it says, blessed and holy is he that has part in the first resurrection, and on such the second death hath no power. And it says, in the second part of that the second death is yet another 1,000 years. And after the 1,000 years is finished, Satan will be released out of his prison right there. And when the 1,000 years are expired, Satan will be loosed out of his prison. So just know that the little season was 1033 AD. And it was a big expectation in 1033 AD. They were all waiting for Jesus Christ or something to happen in resurrection. And when that didn't happen, it just turned into all type of debacle. The Crusades started. They went to go take over Jerusalem. And the Crusades started. And it was all kinds of stuff. But in 1033 AD, there was yet another earthquake and the ground did rent. Tapping, Stacy, y'all keep tapping, man. We got a bunch of people tapping. I certainly appreciate that. But tapping, I certainly appreciate that. Makes complete sense. Which part? I love the fact. Well, yeah, I'm going to show y'all this. You know what? I got too much explaining to do, but when I read this verse right here, this was what got me on the subject. All right, unless the graves were open. Right there, the fifth seal. All right, let's do this real quick. Cast him into the bottomless pit, and I saw the thrones of them that sat upon them, and judgment was given to them, and I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Jesus. That's John the Baptist. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Jesus, John the Baptist, and the word of God, which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither received his mark upon their foreheads or in their hands, and they lived and reigned with Christ 1,000 years. Okay, now that means that they crawled out of the ground right there, and the graves were. And the earth did quake, and the rocks rent, and the graves were open, and many bodies of the saints which slept arose. Are y'all with me? Because when I read this one, it's going to confuse you. So we know that under the altar were the bodies of the saints that were beheaded for the witness of Christ. That's Revelation 20. And when he opened the fifth seal, I saw under the altar the souls of those who had been slain for the word of God and for the testimony which they had. And they had cried with a loud voice, saying, How long, O Lord, how holy and true, until you judge and avenge our blood and those who dwell on the earth? Okay. Then the white robes were given to them, and we just read in the book of in the Acts of Pilate, in the dissension of hell, when the two witnesses, and it says that they came out of the ground, right there, and went into the holy city. And that's where that all happened. And if you know that that's Revelation 20, when he went under the grave, and he that ascended is first, he that descended first into the lower parts of the earth, that means that the fifth seal was opened when Jesus Christ went into the ground. Watch this. If that fifth seal is when Jesus went into the ground right there, that's the fifth seal. And that seal right there is when the little season is. That's when there was an earthquake in 1033 AD. Right there was an earthquake. And that 2033, that's the end of this second death, the second 1,000 years. Jesus Christ died right there, 1,000, 2,000. There's Revelation chapter 20 right there when he went under it. The fifth seal was opened there when he went under the altar. So there is 7 seals, 10 to be broken. I don't know where you got 10 from. But it's the 7 seals on that. And if Adam, that was the first seal, and he was given a crown, and he was told out to go conquer the earth and conquer what he could conquer. That's Adam right there, man. And then he's the white horse. Okay, Jesus comes in on the white horse, man. He's the one with the crown. So there's the first one. And then the red horse of war was given a great sword. That's the Watchers in 3000 BC, 1,000 years later. So there's 1,000 years. Each one of these is 1,000 years. Okay, so he opens the first seal on 0, the second seal on the first 1,000 years. The third seal is right there. That's Abraham, and it says it was a black horse, and he had the scales and the balance scales and a penny for a measure of wheat. There was a famine in Egypt, and the famine in Egypt was what was taking away from all that and the balance scales, and that's Abraham right there. You can see those dates and the times and all that stuff. And hang on, AJ, he's playing with the screen. And so this is the project that I'm working on, and I just told AJ, I said, this is something that, I need you to focus on with me here. And then, so that's the third seal. Abraham, 1,000 years later, that's King David, and hell followed with him, and there was death. And David, he's slaying his 10,000s, and he slayed his 10,000. He was like so bloody his hands wouldn't even work. So there's David, and so he did that, and hell followed with him. That's his boy Solomon that built the temple and all that stuff. He's a special group right there. And then that's the fifth seal. We just talked about that with Jesus, and they gave the white robes and all that stuff. And it says right there, whenever they were resurrected, that they were that when he resurrected, the ground split open, the bodies walked through the streets of Jerusalem, and we'll get 200,000 later. And it's Jesus. And then 1,000 years later is when the little season is, and Satan must be released for a little season. One bigger thing than that is it says that is the rest of the dead yet live again right there. So, the rest of the dead, the people that didn't get out of the grave here, they got out of the grave right there. And then that 1,000 years is the second death, where they'll break that seventh seal. Here's the trick, though. The seventh seal is literally silence in heaven, and then they're going to blow the trumpets, ye double high. And you ought to read the trumpets, man, and search your feelings. But we could have pulled all of these tricks off. There's the white horse. That's the first one. He went out given a bow. Noah was given the bow to go conquer what he was given the bow as a sign. And Adam was told to go out and just inhabitate the earth. And then the Watchers right here, man, they were the same. That's a red horse of war, and they forged and made swords, and they taught men so the dead will rise and walk the earth. The dead rose and walked the earth right there in 4,000 BC, a bunch of them, and they were seen by many. Know that, Rob Allen. And then Abraham, he's right here. But I can tell you, let's read some scriptures, because I don't like people to think that I'm making this up. Matthew 27, verse 52, and the graves were open, we're right here, and the earth did quake, and the rocks rent, and the graves were open, and the bodies of many saints which slept arose, and came out of the graves after his resurrection, and went into the holy city, and appeared unto many. So just know that the dead people got out of the graves in 33 AD, right there. And I don't have all my backup data that says on April 3rd, 33 AD, there was an earthquake, and there was an eclipse. And in 1033, that happened too. So you were just saying, hey, did the dead get out of the ground? Yeah, they sure did. They sure did. That's my book I'm doing right there. But I'm putting this all together for you because I'm going to print a book, and thank you, Gigi, so much. I certainly appreciate that. I certainly appreciate all the gifts. It's what's got me going 100 miles an hour with these things. All of my subscribers, I certainly appreciate that. I've loaded up these pictures of Europe, Egypt, and biblical pictures, and they're all where you can download them now and use them in your work. These are amazing pictures. Cleopatra's Needle, all of the old works and what have you. And I want you to use these. These are in the public domain. So people have been saying that TikTok's going to crack down on copyright stuff. So that's why I want you to use all of my work. You can use all of my work. Go to my website, and you can download all of my work. Is free, and use it. And all of my pictures are in the public domain, or I won't use them. And that way they can't give me any static about it. Like all these pictures, these are Dore, and I love them. How much longer are you going to be live? I don't know. Probably about 30 minutes or so. Well, what's going on? What you got? What you got for me, Rabina? Tell somebody to get on. Oh, somebody was going to get the grandmama on here today, and they said, how can I get her to listen to the Dead Sea Scrolls? She said they shouldn't be in the Bible. And I said, well, they sent all the people over. I wish you'd do a question and answer. I'll do a question and answer. Let's go. Question me. Or is that game? Y'all ask me a question, man. I love it. Rabina, go. That's what I've been trying to do. You ask me questions. I asked some questions on this little trivia game, buddy. I mean, that smoked some people's eggs on that. I'm here texting. I'm texting. I love it. You're as bad as me. I type with my thumbs, and I love answering people's questions, and they'll pin them up. My moderators are in here watching. Thank you so much, Crypto None. I certainly appreciate that. We have just had such great luck with the t-shirts and stuff like that. Mr. Morris, he's got these things. I'll wait till she gets her question up there. Trumpet shirt, that's super cool. And then the back of it is a work of art. They're $18, man. I'd go get one while they're cheap before he changes his mind. I told him they were too cheap. And but he's, you know what? It's like they said, make a quarter 4 times, you made $1. You did it. Tell me your question. JD Fun. Oh, you know what? I love that's John the Baptist picture right there. I wish I could go back to that. Way up the chain right there. I don't know where that is, JD. Saw this freak show looking picture in the United Nations building. Could you share when you go live? Would love more people to join. Buy your free. You know what? I put it on my bio page. And I register them. I go live every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday night. We go Wednesdays at 7 and Tuesdays and Thursdays at 8. I don't know how it got that way. But I certainly appreciate you having that concern. Most of the people that have been following me know that Jubilees is Wednesdays at 7. And we just started putting this Enoch thing in a couple of weeks ago. We're on the 4th week with that. And then this, the Acts of Pilate, or the Gospel of Nicodemus, which is New Testament Apocrypha. It's amazing. We read that on Thursday. And wow, that's just got the best book. But I put them on my bio page, and it registers my live events, and I try to do a thing the day of. But with Memorial Day, and my whole house has been sick, man, so I've been just a little off with my schedule. The Trumpet is my favorite on TikTok. David, you're my favorite. I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, man. I try to find things if you told me not to read a book of the Bible, and it was found in the Dead Sea Scrolls with all the other books of the Bible, thank you so much. I'm going to read the book, okay? I'm sorry, because it says all scripture is God-breathed and useful for teaching and rebuking. And I may just say, hey, I learned something, or I may not say that was garbage. You go ahead. And, but I certainly appreciate all that. The Trumpet is my favorite. Y'all asked me that question. I was waiting on you. And I will. Man, we asked some hard questions the other day, and that was a trivia. We had a trivia thing, and we're asking questions, and the people are just now starting to get their Bibles. AJ.
Yeah, a lot of people messaged me. Super awesome.
Yeah. What do you think about Yahuwah and the people using Jesus Christ? I follow John 19:19 that says Jesus Christ of Nazareth, and I think a lot of people, try to put a name as in. That's your name. Like, your name is Greg. My name is Greg. It's and 2,000 years ago, they wouldn't have named you a thing like that. They would have said, you know, walks with God or from Nazareth. And that's what Jesus meant. It says sent by God or something from Nazareth. So it just know that it was not a called name. And I hear so many things. You do what your divine calling tells you to do. Mine told me to read the Holy Bible, and in John 19:19, it says that his name is Jesus Christ of Nazareth, and that Pilate wrote that in 3 different languages. So I'm going to hold on that one is where I'm going. It didn't say in any other Bible to use those. And so many people do the J thing, you know, and they go, well, there was no J. Yeah, you know, there was no J. There was an I with a hoop underneath it, and it was to make the EU sound. And when you put the little mark above it, it made the Y sound. So you had an I that made a Y if you put the mark above it, and it made a EU sound as a vowel if you put the mark below it, which looks like a J. So they would say Judah, Jerusalem, and it was a EU sound. They all mean the same thing in different languages. They do. That may be Arabic for Jesus or the same thing, but just know I read English. You know, when you read, like I had some kids, I say kids, they were about 16 years old, give me a Bible while I was in Croatia. Have you ever read the Book of Adam? I have read it, but it's just pieces and pieces. It's very fragmented. And, you know, that is from the United Nations. I can't stand them. Just can't stand them. Oh, let me show you this. I'm so glad that I put these things together. Let me show you this real quick. All right. We did this. This is the Palace of Herod. This is ancient Jerusalem. Now, watch this. And know that they did this to Jerusalem. There's Herod's palace, which was David's palace. There's the temple, and there's the tomb of David. Now, there's the temple, there's David's palace or Herod's palace, and there's the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. So David's tomb is not there anymore, and Herod's palace is. And the Church of the Holy Sepulchre is. Now, before the Church of the Holy Sepulchre was there, when Pontius Pilate ruled and they overtook that area, they put there's the palace, there's the temple, and there's the temple of Venus. So the temple of Venus went in place of the tomb of David. There's the temple, there's the tomb of David, there's the palace, there's the temple, there's the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, and before that happened, there's the temple, and the temple of Venus was put in place right there. And that's the abomination of desolation, just know that. So the abomination of desolation was done by Dr. Domo Maccabee, and the Maccabees, which it says that in the Old Testament Apocrypha, we're reading Enoch now, and it says read Enoch right there. That's this one. This one. It says, read Enoch right there, that it should be enumerated amongst the holy books. And then it says, these are the book of Maccabees. Let me read you the book of Maccabees. And right here. And he put swine's flesh on the altar. This is the abomination of desolation. It says those words exactly. And Antiochus, King Antiochus set up the abomination of the idol of desolation on the altar of God. He put the abomination of desolation right there. Cease the daily sacrifice, literally in that column right there. And then all of the books, you were saying, what happened to the books of the Bible? Right here, all of the books of the Bible were cut into pieces. Anybody that had one of them, the same thing happened to them. Anybody that had their babies circumcised, bad things happened to them too, and their child. And this was right here. That's Antiochus. That's when he overtook Jerusalem. A couple of pictures right here. He made the daily sacrifice cease in 168. And 7 years later, he made a covenant with Rome. 7 years later, he made a covenant with Rome. And he called himself the King of the Jews right there. All right. So just know that happened right there. There's the daily sacrifice feast. That's where that guy calls himself the King of the Jews, right? I mean, King of the Jews right there. And that's where Jesus was put on the cross right there. It's happening. That is that. That is that one. Daily sacrifice feast. I love doing this stuff. Why does bad things happen? And I'll tell you what happened to them. I'll let you read it. You know what? They didn't shut my live down. If they did, I could care less. I'm reading the Bible. And if they can't handle me reading the Bible on here, then I'll just be on YouTube. I will. Let me get my face out of the way. Can you please add those pictures to your link tree so that I can print them and make notes, please? They are in my, what, these pictures right here of the Bible? Those pictures are in my link tree. Those the Pope, Bible that's on my link tree. But right here, what they did, I'm trying to read this sideways because I don't have the paper in front of me. And they hanged the children about, invite Connor Kingsley. Invite Connor, that's my son. I'm so glad that you were in the way, Connor, with your little logo right there. Oh, no, I can't see it. That thing's right in the way. But it says what they did to their children right there. They circumcised them. Anyone that was circumcised, they hung around their neck and put them to death. And anybody that performed that operation for those people, they put them to death too. So all of the Jewish leaders with their books and the people that circumcise anybody, they ceased the daily sacrifice, put them all to death, burned all the books, made a 7-year covenant with Rome, called himself King of the Jews, and all of that happened in Palestina, and they named it Palestina. That dude right there, they named it Palestina just to make the people mad because that's where the Philistines used to live, and Goliath lived there before that. So they named it Palestina just to make the people remind of the word Philistines. And they did that just to, come on. And are those the false Jews? I don't know. Any of the Jews that are real Jews that say, I am super Jew, they don't believe Jesus Christ. They don't believe in Jesus Christ. And he who denies Christ denies the Father the same as the Antichrist. It's the spirit of Antichrist. So just know that. Yeah, what year was that? What year was what? Oh, right here in, what do you want? Get out of here. Run away. Run away. You got little legs. That year was, I got it right here, it's like 161 BC, 170 BC. That's it. Oh, well. Right there, the daily sacrifice was ceased in 168 BC. No. Be nice to Arlo. He was barking because I'm always nice to him. He's a angel. That's what I call my little granddaughters, Dangels. Darling angels. Be nice. I got everybody reflecting that in here. Chatting person, just reading the form, and Daniel. Yeah, Daniel said, go thy way, Daniel, for the words are closed up and sealed till the time of the end. Add these link trees and subscribers. Please, please, please add these link trees for subscribers to print. Well, these pictures right here are in my, those pictures right there. A lot of them are in one of my study guides. That last one I did with the Maccabees has a ton of these pictures like this right here, and check that out. And Georgia Peaches, I will put that in for the subscribers. I'm having to load those in, and the color pictures in 4K, it'll only hold 10, so I have to redo all the text and all that stuff, so I'll throw those in there for you. And I'm sorry you can't print those stickers. That's why I put all those things in there, and you learned on Buy My Fruit. I went to your page to see if I could use the stickers, and the stickers don't blow up. And I thought you could see those 4K pictures, so I'm sorry, and I'm doing them so you can see what I've been doing though. Hang on, I'll show you. I did all of these pictures. I did all of those. All of these. I had to rewrite all that text, man. All of that crap right there, because that words right there, that's what's copywritten. That picture is not copywritten. Those words were done in 1974. So I had to take the picture, which was in the public domain, and then redo the text right there. So I certainly appreciate that. Is somebody in the room? I feel like the chapter of Maccabees. What chapter of Maccabees? I think that is, man, it's like chapter 4 in the first book. It's right there at the front because I wish I could go up. I didn't really set up to do the Maccabees thing, but literally in the first chapter it talks about Alexander and Alexander the Great. Do you think that we will see the division of land, peace, deal in Israel, or will be raptured? I'm not really sure when that whole thing with Israel. Israel is not a piece of dirt, man. Israel is a dude. Israel is Jacob, and that word means struggles with God. In 1948, right about the time they found the Dead Sea Scrolls after the Second World War, I think it was like the Biltmore family or somebody, whatever there, and created the place called Israel. But dude, that was in 1940s or something like that. That place was called Palestina. And they named it that just to make the locals mad because the Philistines used to own that place. I did a whole thing on that, a TikTok on it. But they did that. They named it that just to make the people mad because the Philistines used to own it. And that's where Goliath lived. Hello, late getting here. You are just touch. A bit late. But AJ's been real good about putting those things onto YouTube. So I love the fact that no rapture is a false hope. Ezekiel 13. Rapture means extreme happiness, and I can assure you that that's not a false hope. I am extremely happy. And if you read the words, you can tell, sort of when the season is. But I hope that you can. In Ezekiel, you got a great name there. Every knee shall bow, I guarantee you. And people go, I'm going to be taking it first and all that stuff. Let me tell you something. It says real quick in Matthew 24, and all the tribes of the earth shall mourn. I know that. Every knee shall bow, and all the tribes of the earth shall mourn. And it says that right after it says, and immediately after the tribulations of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give it light. And you shall see the sign of the Son of Man coming in the sky. Right there. Might be a dumb question, but can you rewatch the lives? Sort of new to TikTok. You can rewatch the lives, but you can't do it on here. You have to go to my YouTube page, and we have them all downloaded there. And the Jubilees is probably our best loaded, but if you go to my bio page on my link tree right there, and then go to right there down. Oh, that was lightning. I heard that. Damn, that almost killed me. Almost died. Come here. He's literally running around in circles. You don't like that, do you, boy? He don't like lightning. He don't. I'm so sorry. But yeah, you can go there and check out my stuff. And the YouTube page, they're right there. I'm sorry, my dog was freaking out because it's lightning. And there's all the stuff, the Book of Jubilees, and I believe we're reading, that's that Maccabees thing. That's where all that, you were asking about the Maccabees and chapter, go watch that on YouTube. And I've got all the pictures and put it in there. And he is scared to death. He's running around like a little squirrel with a shaggy haircut. He thinks he can take a squirrel. I think the squirrel might take him, but he runs up to them squirrels, and they quit running away from him so much now. I think he's gonna join Mortal Kombat, one of these things. But AJ does such a good job of taking all of the fat out of these things and making audiobooks out of them. So all of this the talking, he's going to chop all that out and then just have where I read those chapters. They're really cool though. I really have enjoyed. He's put so much. That's like Enoch. If you want to go, the whole book of Enoch is on my YouTube, and I read it right there. 17,000 people watch that, and it's like one of my first songs. Cackling goddess. Oh, you know what? If y'all just joined, man, it says that they were supposed to take and bind Azazel hand and foot and take him and put him in this part of the desert right here, and in the desert, and to dig a big hole and put sharp rocks and jagged rocks on it. Let me show you what that is. Dudale. That means the cauldron of God. Dudale. Dude means cauldron. El means God. Can we buy that map you made? I really. What map? I didn't make. Oh, you're talking about this map, maybe. That map right there? I hadn't finished with this one. I got to put all the verses. This is 7 seals right here. I got a whole book on that. All right. I did. Didn't do it. This is the book. And then this tells all about the 7 seals. And the first one is Adam and how it has a bow. And the second one is in the days of Jared and the red horse of war, and he's given a sword. It all makes sense, man. If y'all, let me show you real quick.
They want to know where to get that big time map.
Oh, the Adam's map of time?
Yeah, this one.
Ah, okay. Let me show you.
This map.
You'll go to that page, link tree. Oh, they asking on the live thing.
And TikTok.
Yeah, there it is. That's the Adam's map of time. Now I can tell you, it's 3 foot tall, and it's 3 foot tall and 23 foot long. And me and AJ were just talking about how cumbersome this thing is. Mine tore all to pieces. But it's man, it's like $20 more on the TikTok shop, and I thought everything was cheaper on TikTok. It's cheaper in Amazon. And if you go to my links in my bio page, which you can buy everything you want to on my Amazon, through my Amazon store, who wrote it is at the Adam's chart of synchronicity, Adam's time map. You can look it up on that. And it should be about 40 or 50 bucks. But they jacked it. I think it's about 20 something dollars higher on TikTok shop. But there's also a digital version, which I don't know. I personally stretched out my 23 foot map, and I love doing that. I bought that. And that's so awesome. I tell you what, man, you have to read. It's 23 foot long, 3 foot tall, and you still need a magnifying glass. So if it give you an idea of how much information's on the Adam's map of time, Demon Slayer, I thank you for pointing that out, man. Now, Lisa, Amazon has it. Elena, I certainly appreciate you. Amazon does have it. I've got an Amazon link right there. If you go to my link tree and go to my Amazon links, I've got the right one picked out that has the teacher's guide that goes with it and the learning guide. Make sure that comes with it because it tells you what all the little icons mean. And it's important because you'll know when Satan's little season at 1033 because the Crusades start, and then you can see these little red crosses, and it tells you how many Christians were martyred, and it right around 1033 AD is that when they started martyring all the Christians and all. So it's a temple. What's a temple? Washington Monument's a temple. It is. It's packed with info. I bought mine through your link. Thank you so much, Demon Slayer. It is packed with info. Did you get the little? It came with all the books inside of it, the teacher's guide, and those are very important. Don't lose them. I literally have mine, and it's so important. It's the key code. I literally. You got to have that piece of it, man. It tells you it's the key. What's the key to the Adam's map? Make sure you don't get, because that busts them up, man. If you get the wrong link, it won't have that key in it. And I'm going to go, oh, if you want to buy the key, then it's so-and-so. And it just literally tells you what all the little pieces are in there. Fix your hair. I knew that was my wife. Beautiful. That's beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Mine didn't come with one. See, that's what, who said that? Mine didn't come with one. I bet you ordered it off of another link. That's why I made sure that when I order something, I get it and then I post the link. And I had heard that people weren't getting the study guides and the teacher things, or that people were selling them separately. That link in my bio page is straight up, and it has all the keys, and it's got a teacher's guide in it too. That's so that you can print for your students. It's super cool. Washington Monument is a temple. It is a temple. The Washington Monument is a temple. It says it right behind Lincoln's head. It says the word temple, and he has his back to the temple. And I believe it's Ezekiel, maybe 48. It says that I'll show you a greater atrocity than these. And then it shows all the people that are facing east with their back to the temple. And Jerusalem, it faces the temple and altar face west. So if you turn your back on God, you're facing east, and that's what that means. And in the space time, can anyone please pray for my best friends? He's having heart troubles, and it isn't. Oh, I'm so sorry, Space Time More. You won a Bible last week, and I certainly appreciate that. And I will pray for your best friend's mom. I certainly will, Deirdre. Please take care of that lady and let your ways and your means be carried out. In Jesus' mighty name, amen. A lot of people say, hey, I want you to pray and make this happen or make that happen. I don't do that, man. I always tell God, I hope your will is done. And because it's so much, his way is so much higher than ours. And it's so much better than ours. And his ways are, you just can't explain them, man. What you may think is a terrible thing may be something that changes you permanently. And we just have to follow God's plan. Her name is Sharon. Thank you so much, Sharon. And I will be praying for you. I certainly will, Sharon. My heart goes out to you. And I certainly hope that you get past all of that. In Jesus' name. And the picture keys. The picture keys is when you're a subscriber. There's a key inside of my thing right there. Prayers for my son. His oncologist appointment is tomorrow. I said, in Arkansas, Gigi, you know that we are going to have prayers for your son and his oncology appointment and all that. I certainly hope that everything goes good with that, and we will have prayer and put him right in the middle of it. I really do appreciate all of my close followers, and Arkansas Gigi, she's one of them. And I want you to know that I pray for y'all every morning. I really do. I pray for everybody that's in this room right now, for all of my followers every morning. And I want you to know that I pray that we see this world through his eyes. And his name is Blake. Thank you so much, Blake. We'll be saying a prayer for you, and good luck with that appointment. And I know that everything's going to come out all right, Blake. So you just keep your eyes on the Lord and say a prayer right before you walk in there, and just keep your eyes on the Lord. I'm way late. You are way late, D. My wife's going to make me shut down here in a little bit. But we had such a big section, and man, we burned right through it. But it was the watchers, and we found out all the places where it said to put where it told the angels to go put them. I thought that was really an amazing piece of the story. I'll read it right here for you real quick. And there's the part that we had just said, and it said to go bind them hand and foot, say Azazel, and go put him in Dudil right there, and then you can go right to Dudil, which is there, Dudil, and that's Tiberias, the Lake of Tiberias, and this is Israel, and that's Tiberias, so that's like the Sea of Galilee's there, and Mount Hermon's up there, and they're there. And it says, get a hole, and there's a hole in Dudil. That's just one of them. They're all over that desert. And look at that hole. I mean, that's a mountain, and that's a hole. Like, you could drive a lot of stuff into that hole. It's this place. It is the cauldron of God. Dud means kettle, and El means deity. It is the kettle, or the pot of the cauldron of God. And that's in it. You see how little these people are, man. Little people. This is all fishes. That's got to be washed out by water, man. You gonna tell me, how's that a road? Crazy. Crazy right there. Look, here's out in the middle of the desert. Drop. We need a little lake. Little condos right in there. Get them Uber Eats. That's what they got. Thanks again for the Bible, and a special thanks to the kind of soul who paid for it. I certainly, I certainly appreciate that. And the people that donate and make this all happen are the ones that pay for the shipping, that pay for the Bibles, that pay for these things. I spend my time sitting right here making these study guides and these study lessons, and I certainly appreciate all of y'all's support. And I get so much of it, and I certainly appreciate it. 301,000 likes on a 2-hour tick, and I just think that that's a 2-hour live session. I think that's just amazing. I need 2 more followers. Gigi needs 2 more followers. Go right there. That's my wife. Go 2 more followers. Somebody click on that, and then she's going to get that. I'm trying to tag them in my stuff because I want them to be able to communicate with you. And they're all my moderators. My son, he's been in here 15 times. You can't see him because he touches his finger up underneath the screen right here. See my fingers? And he punches all the buttons. And we do have it like on a laptop and all that stuff. It's just I'm not the high-tech redneck that I used to be, and it eludes me. Gigi is perfect. Gigi is perfect, and I wish she felt better. I hope she does feel better. And I said a prayer for her last night, and she even said she could say a prayer for me. And I was like, I've prayed for you 5 minutes ago. I'll say another one right now. And Gigi, you don't follow Gigi. What are you doing? Gigi, get back. If you don't follow Gigi, that's my son. He's telling you that's my mama. Go follow my mama. I followed. All right. Gigi, I think you made it. Gigi, thank you. All right. She got some more. And that pegs us. I can't wait to read you this thing about the 7 seals. I've got so much work. I just started building a little chart on it. And I certainly appreciate all of my people being on here. I just want to tell you briefly, if you read the 7 seals and you read about them, the first seal was broken. And this is just what I'm reading. The first seal, the white horse, right here, 0 AD, zero. Then the first 1,000 years right here is the second seal, and that's the red horse of war. And he was given a sword, and the fallen angels are the red horse. They learned how to make swords and gave it to man. And, Adam was told to go out and conquer the earth and take over the earth and to conquer the land. And then the watchers taught them how to fight and created the sword. There was a great famine in Egypt when Abraham went through there. That's the third seal right there with the horse and the balance scales and a weight of barley for a penny. And that was what they did in Egypt and what have you. Then you've got right here King David. That's the next 1,000 years. And go right to here. And that's 3,000 years in, seal number 4, David. And that is, those are the 4 horses. That's the pale horse of death. And remember, David was pale and he got no heat. And it said right there that these are the last words of David. And then they put this woman with him to try to make him heated up and all that stuff. And then hell followed with him, which is Solomon, which built that temple on Mount Moriah. And then the 5th seal, we just read that 5th seal thing right there. It was right there. And it said the 5th seal was under the altar, and that's where the souls were beheaded, where Jesus in Revelation chapter 20 said he descended into the lower parts of the earth and released those that were the beheaded, that were under the altar. And I saw the witness of those for Jesus right here. Right there. Well, that's the 5th seal. And it says the 5th seal was when he went into there and locked that. 1033 AD. And it's a big earthquake. Everybody was expecting Christ to come out of the ground. It wasn't. It's the little season. 1,000 years later is when the rest of the dead yet live again. And that's when all the bad things started happening to Christians. And the Christians were being martyred. And the Crusades started. All there. And just little facts. 2033 is the end of that. Crack the seventh seal. And then that just means the trumpet start playing, man. It isn't like the end of the day. Money gun for David. Jamie Jameson, I certainly appreciate that. That's my daughter. And David is her son, man. I got him right there. And I don't give David too much static because my grandson's name is David. I love him to death. That little red right there. I remember when she's like 30-something years old. She's a little baby. Red-headed baby. Red hair and green eyes. I love her to death. That's my new book I'm putting together. Each of my pictures. Hey, y'all go buy a t-shirt from that Mr. Morse right there. Go buy one. They're $18. You go to my website and you buy one. You do it. They're right there. Trumpet t-shirt. Right there, touch that button. That's on my link tree. Go to that bio page right there. That's the first thing. Go to the link tree and it'll pop right up. You go to my bio page and touch that link tree right there. And then that'll pop up. That's a lesson. And that's that. On down, you were asking about those Georgia peaches? That right there, that antique Leah Bible. There's a bunch of pictures on that thing right there. All right. Audio books. I've learned more about biblical history from you than I would have dreamed. Debbie, I certainly appreciate that. And just know, if it comes out of my mouth, I just learned it. The thing with the seven seals, when somebody showed me that thing about the fifth seal, and then we're doing the Acts of Pilate, and the dissension into hell, and then we know that Jesus is he that descended is also he first that descended into the lower parts of the earth and then ascended up high above the heavens. And that's Jesus, man. And that happened on the first resurrection right there. It's so easy to know when the dead got out of the ground and walked through the city streets of Jerusalem, man. I mean, they were seen by many. And that just is amazing scripture. And the earth did quake, and the rocks rent, and the graves were opened, and many bodies of the saints which slept arose, and came out of their graves, and after his resurrection, and went into the holy city, and appeared unto many. It's the walking dead right through the middle of Jerusalem. And in the descent to hell in the books of Acts, it says that those were the saints. It says that David was one of them, that they held the hand of Michael, walked through the city streets of Jerusalem, were given robes, and washed them in the Jordan. Boom! They washed them in the Jordan. And the four horses of the apocalypse are those same colors where they washed their robes in the Jordan. And then it says right there, the fifth seal, that they were under the altar and that they were given the white robes and they walked over. So I just tell him the whole thing sort of ties together. And then they will walk through the city streets of Jerusalem, and that's it. So the trumpets and the bowls, do they happen in 1 hour? No, the trumpets and the bowls happen after... the trumpets and the bowls are after. I got it in this book. I can show you. Bear with me. There's the order of judgment. I turn it around. Dang, ding, ding, dang. Touch it. This is mirror that. This one. Right. There. It's the seals, then the trumpets, then the vials. Okay? And you can see them in Revelation 6 is the seals. Revelation 8 is about the trumpets. Revelation 15 are about the vials and the bowls. So just know that we're going through the seals, and when the seals are ended for an hour, will be some silence, and then they start blowing the trumpets, and man, that's when all the dirt starts getting kicked up right there. Like I sort of said, when I'm just now putting this together, and I could be wrong, but I think these are the seals. So we've got Adam over here, and these different seven seals, and one every 1,000 years. And right here in 2033, which is about 7 years from now, we will see if that happens. These other things happened in 1033. That's right there where the fifth seal was broken and Christ went down under the altar and released the souls that walked through the city streets of Jerusalem. That happened right there. And it says that that was the fifth seal right there. The fifth seal says that when he went under the altar and gave them the white robes. So that's the fifth seal of Georgia. When Jesus went underneath there in Georgia, right there. Now just know, man, and 1,000 years later, when the rest of the dead got out of the ground, it was a big day. It was an earthquake and all that stuff that happened there. And like I said, the four horsemen that are in the apocalypse, they are, and they go across the Jordan River and wash their robes in the Jordan. And those are the colors of the four apocalyptic horsemen. And they go across the Jordan. You remember the Jordan's a big thing. Jesus was baptized in the Jordan. The Jordan runs out of Mount Hermon. And the four horsemen of the apocalypse are those dudes' colors, man. They sure are. I got this stuff on my iPad. I just put that together, though. I really did. So but I'm putting all the scripture together behind that too. So just know that I don't like to just say things and hey, this is my theory. Just know that that's a light. Let me touch these buttons because that drives me crazy to be mirrored. I point the wrong way. That right there, that's a white horse. He was given a bow with, in Noah's days they had a bow over it, and he was told to go out and spread out amongst the earth and populate the earth, and he would go out and conquer what he could conquer. The second horse is the red horse of war, and that was in the year 3000, 1,000 years later, and that's the fallen angels, man. Right then they had they made swords and they taught men how to use them and created a great war. And then right here in 2000 BC, that's 1,000 years later, that's the third seal, and that's the black horse with the balances beams. And that's when Egypt went into a famine, and Jacob got them to trade their souls for bread, and to trade all of their stuff for the grains and bread and the barley and a measure of wheat for a penny. And then 1,000 years later is the fourth horse, and that's the pale horse, which you remember David, he was thought to be dead, and he got no heat. And it says right there, halfway through his life, these are the last words of David. And you can just see right here, that's talking about David. And then for 1,000 years later, that's Jesus Christ. Remember that David right here, he actually spoke about Jesus Christ being on the cross 1,000 years before. He wrote, my God, why have thou forsaken me? For the dogs have encircled me, and they pierced my hands, and they pierced my feet. And then 1,000 years later, he gets on the cross, and he says the exact same thing. And he's like going, these dudes have no idea that I'm repeating King David right here. My God, why have thou. That's the 22nd Psalm that David wrote. So there's the fifth seal. It says that the fifth seal is when he went under the altar right there. And then 1,000 years later, it says in the book of Revelation that after the 1,000 years, that Satan must release a little season. So I would say that somewhere right in here is a little season. And you can see that's right when the Crusades started. That's right when all the martyrs, Christian martyrs, there's a bunch of red crosses, and that means there were a bunch of Christian martyrs right after 1033 AD. And then in 2033 AD will be the end of the second death, or the end of a 2,000-year period from the crucifixion, right there. So just know that a Jubilee year, which we're in a Jubilee year, is the 50th year, and thou shalt hallow it and keep it sacred, the 50th year. And we're 40 Jubilee, 50-year periods away in 2033. That's 2,000 years. 50-year periods is 2,000 years. That's what Revelation 20 says is 2,000 year period, the first resurrection and the second death. So 40 is a time of tribulation, 40 days and 40 nights, 40 days in the desert. It rained this for 40 days. They wandered for 40 years. Just know 40 is the time of test, man. And Saul, David, and Solomon all reigned for 40 years, man. All of them reigned for 40 years. Exactly. So just know that was a testament right there. And we're so reset. Wow. So the reset is actually happening. You know what? I just read this. It says a day is like 1,000 years. And when I read yesterday, it was yesterday? Yeah, yesterday. When I read this one, that the fifth seal was when he went under the altar and released those that had the testimony. I knew right then that he was talking about that he saw the thrones and those that were beheaded for the judgment of Christ. It's speaking the same thing. And that's right right where he went under the altar in Revelation chapter 20, after he chained the devil away and bound him 1,000 years. And that he must be released for a little season after the 1,000 years. And it's just becoming more apparently clear to me that the people that are in the 1,000 years, this is the first resurrection. And the people that are in the first resurrection don't have anything to do with the second death, which is another 1,000 years right there. And when that 1,000 years is finished, that's when Satan gets out. So 2,000 years after Jesus Christ was crucified is right there in 2033 AD. So 40 Jubilee periods is 2,000 years. And after 33 AD, after he went into the ground in the fifth seal, that's the sixth seal, and that's the seventh seal. But trust me, that's just when they start blowing the trumpets, man. That's when the dirt starts flying around right there. I enjoy your content. I enjoy my content too, because I love talking to y'all, and I love talking about the Lord, and I love making books and learning about him. And I love bringing this information that's true. This guy right here, Antiochus, right there. I don't know if you just joined. Antiochus, right here, he's the guy that put the abomination of desolation on the altar of God. That's in 168 BC, right there. And he put swine's flesh on the altar of God. And then he took all the people right there that had the books of God, and he put them to death right there. So just know that's the abomination of desolation. That guy did it. That's when they ceased the daily sacrifice in 168. And then 7 years later, in 161, they made a covenant or a treaty with the Romans. And then that guy started calling himself the King of the Jews right there. Jesus Christ is right over here. Jesus Christ is right. There's the daily sacrifice in, and there's where Jesus Christ was crucified. And that's where it says that guy took the name King of the Jews right there. And that was in a place called Palestina. And that was after the Maccabees tried to revolt, and the Romans squashed it. And then they turned around and said, we're going to name this whole place Palestina now, just to make you mad. And it was a resemblance of the word Palestine, or the Philistines, where the Philistines lived when they employed Goliath to go slaughter David and King Saul's army. So that happened. Adams, this is the Adams map of time. I bet y'all talking about that. Sure is. Adams, say that word, synchronological chart. You can try to spell that, or you can just put Adams map of time, and I think it has a correction feature that will correct that for you. Super cool book. We've got just a great crowd in here, and I love answering y'all's questions. I hate to go off track. We were in the book of Enoch, and we were talking about where they had gotten bound and where the angels were told to take them in the binding and what have you. And they're right there. Let me show you. We were right there where it said to the Lord said to Raphael, bind Azazel hand and foot and put him in a hole. Make a hole and put him right there. Throw him in it. One more time, I bet. And put him in Dudil. Hang on, I got a place on that. I can show you right where it is. Dudil is right there. There's Dudil. There's Tiberias, and that's the Jordan River. There's Tiberias, and like the Sea of Galilee, the Jordan River, Mount Hermon, that's Dudil. And then it says dig a hole. Look how big those mountains are, and then there's a big hole right there. Right there. Hello, love your content. Thank you so much. I will mess my hair up. My wife will be texting in here. Was the Book of Enoch to buy? Do you sell them? I am going to put. See how, look at this. See how this is the Acts of Pilate? I just finished this book, and I made this just for y'all, and I'm going to try to sell this thing. This is the Acts of Pilate, and these are the study guides that we've been going through. But I've taken this thing and put all of my study notes here at the bottom that explain all of the Acts of Pilate. And on each page, it has all of the acts, but it has what the discussions. These are some of the best questions that we got out of the class, and this is my Acts of Pilate book. And it goes all the way down into the dissension into hell. Super cool, man. I hear somebody on there. Did I touch? I think it's mine.
I don't know.
I get somebody in here every once in a while. It's because I put their picture.
No, sorry.
That's all right. I probably touched that button on purpose. You were probably supposed to be in the room. I kept hearing little voices back there. But, yeah, I would love somebody to come on and talk, but I just have no idea where those conversations go. I'm not worried about quoting scripture backwards and forwards, but just some people are really hard to untrain. And she did sound nice, didn't she? I have an African American friend who noticed that African American history was not included in the map. I don't know about that. In the Adams map of time, I think it does. It's not a big thing to where it tapers off. Basically, when you start getting into the 1800s and what have you, yeah, I think it does get into more of a European format, but I actually haven't read that much of the map toward that end. I would love to buy that. What was it called again? The Acts of Pilate. And that is the book that I just made, The Acts of Pilate. And put this nice parchment. I do all my stuff in parchment. And I just bound all this stuff. I bind all my books. But it's just a super cool book. And full of pictures, all of these pictures, and the study guides that go with it. It's like 50 pages, and I can't like give it to you as a guide or a PDF or something like that. So I was thinking I'd probably sell it for a couple bucks. But I put a lot of work into that, and it really does tell the dissension into hell, and it'll help you put some things together about when they wash the robes. It tells right here. I got a great picture, and David speaks out. We were just reading that, weren't we? We read that in the last section. Satan speaks to hell, right here. And then, hang on. Hell casts Satan out of his dwelling. Hold on. There's David right there. King David, he's one of the first people that speak, man, when he comes out. And David spake thus unto hell, and the Lord Majesty appeared unto him in the form of a man lightning. I love it when they meet the thief on the cross, man. They meet the thief on the cross, and they're like, who's this dude? He looks rough. And the two witnesses tells about the two witnesses. I love that. Where's the thief on the cross? Thief on the cross right here. His name is tells all about the thief on the cross. Tells his name, Dyson, I think. Oh, I'll tell you, I love this part right here. Then. Oh, and as Enoch and Elias spoke thus with the saints, behold, there came another man of vile habit, bearing upon his shoulders the sign of the cross, whom when they beheld, all the saints said unto him, Who art thou? For thine appearance is of a robber. And wherefore is thou that bearest the sign upon his shoulders? And as he answered them, he said, Ye have rightly said, for I was a robber, doing all manner of evil upon the earth. And the Jews crucified me with Jesus. And I beheld the wonders in creation, which came to pass through the cross of Jesus. And when he was crucified, and I believed that he was the maker of all creatures, and the Almighty King, I besought him, saying, Remember me, Lord, when thou comest into my kingdom. And forthwith he received my prayers, and said to me, Verily, I say unto thee this day, thou shalt be with me in paradise. And he gave me the sign of the cross, saying, Bear this, and go unto paradise. And if the angel that keepeth paradise suffer thee not to enter in, show him the sign of the cross, and thou shalt say to him, Jesus Christ, the Son of God, who now is crucified, hath sent me. I love that, man. That's the thief on the cross. Jesus is telling him, hey, man, show him that little mark on your shoulder where you got your little cross or wherever that mark of the cross was. And then he walks right into that. And that book right there is just so full of information of the two witnesses. I know I read that to you before, but it's just amazing to listen to the two witnesses and who they were. It's one paragraph. If y'all want me to, I'll read you the two witnesses real quick. This is super cool and explains it really good, too. Say yes. Somebody say yes. And I will commit the whole group. Yes, please. That way, you bought the whole group. Chapter 9, the two witnesses. But the Lord, holding the hand of Adam, delivered him unto Michael the archangel, and all the saints followed Michael the archangel. And he brought them all into glory and the beauty, grace of paradise. And there met with him two men, ancient of days. And when they asked the saints, Who are ye, that ye have not been dead in hell with us, and are set in paradise in the body? Then one of them said, answering, said, I am Enoch, which was translated hither by the word of the Lord. And this with me is Elias the Tishbite, which was taken up in a chariot of fire. And up to this day we have not tasted death, but we have received unto the coming of, but we are received unto the coming of the Antichrist, to fight against him with signs and wonders of God, and to be slain of him in Jerusalem, and after 3.5 days to be taken up again alive in the clouds. And that's the two witnesses, and there's a little paragraph, and that's the two witnesses, and they are in Hades, and it's Enoch and Elias, and he says, hey, we're here to fight the Antichrist when that day comes, man. I love hearing that. There's nothing more than I love hearing just the slap truth, and hey, there's somebody coming to save us, and they received their white robes right there, man. These are divine holy mysteries. Oh man, these are the two witnesses. And not the two witnesses, the two dudes, when they said the graves were emptied in Jerusalem, they said that the sons of one of the priests, he had two sons and they both died. And they said, you can go over there and look, their graves are empty. And their names were Caranus and Lictus. I know those are backwards, but that's their two names. And they were dead. And then when Christ got out of the ground, they said their graves are right over there and they're empty. And they are in Arimathea, where Joseph was from. And they are just sitting there waiting on us. And they go get them and bring them back. And they said, we want you to tell us what happened. And they said, give us a ream of paper each and we'll write it. And they did a cross on their tongue. And then they shut up and they wrote word for word. And then one gave their book to 6 people and another gave his book to another 6 people. And they both read them. And the people were translated and taken up into heaven. The witnesses were. Right there in front of them, and their works didn't differ by one letter. So just know that two or more witnesses testify, and that's why they had the two witnesses. It says that's an old thing in Deuteronomy, man. It says that two or more witnesses make it right. So I appreciate that. I certainly appreciate that. Fantastic show. Thank you so much, Alan. I wish you were my Uncle Alan. I got an Uncle Alan, man. Alan West. Receiving my white robe is the best day of my life. I bet it will be. I hope that that happens for everybody. It says that the books are open, and when another book was open, and they read the books, just know that, there's a couple of books. It says in Revelation that there's a couple of books, and just know that there's the first book that's opened, and I call that the grandma group, man. They get taken right up into heaven. And this is after the judgment. This is after all the tribes of the earth mourn. And then the second book they opened and said, these are the people with the unintentional sins, and parked them over there for a third of the month. And then it says the other people in the book, those are the people that are to be destroyed by Satan immediately, and he carries them off. And I got the two witnesses in the olive tree. You know what? The two witnesses is super cool. And there's a couple of things that sort of throw you off of that, because it says in the book of John, in the first chapter of it, it says that John is a faithful witness of Christ. And then in the first book of, or the chapter of Revelation, it says that Jesus is the true and faithful witness. And I loved, you have a good voice, and I love reading. And if you want to ever hear any of my long form stuff, you can go right to my page that AJ did. And he's been building that up, and you can read some of my long form stuff. I do all my books here, Book of Jubilees. These are all audio books. These right here, Jubilee, he wrote that down. So if you like hearing the trumpet without all the shenanigans, AJ's edited out all of the nonstop. But if you want to hear the shenanigans, then go play the live, and that'll be 2.5 hours worth of, which I love talking about. They're actually entertaining, man. I enjoy listening to them, but I'm not going to read you any junk, man. I'm going to read you the Apocrypha out of the Old Testament. I'm going to let people tell me exactly which ones. These are the Book of Maccabees. We're looking right down here into the Book of Jubilees. Pow, we're getting closer. And there it says that these books are to be enumerated amongst the holy documents, the Book of Jubilees and the Book of Enoch. So, I'm reading them. They're supposed to be counted. The Book of Jubilees is the one that says it was written by God, given to Moses, and told to teach men with it. And it never says to kill anybody in there. In that book. And the 10 Commandments say don't kill anybody. So when Moses walked down the mountain with the word of God, none of those words of God said that anybody could kill anybody. And that's what Moses came down the mountain and gave them, the Book of Jubilees and the 10 Commandments. And when Jesus was in front of Pilate, he told the Pharisees, he said, Moses gave you the law, yet you still seek to kill me. And they were reading their law. They were reading man's law. And the book of Leviticus gives you about 30 different reasons that you can put somebody to death. And that was man's law. God's law never says that. God's law says that thou shalt not kill. And there's 10 commandments, and really the biggest one that we find in Jubilees is honor the Sabbath, man. That's the biggest thing in Jubilees. It says no matter what you do, honor the Sabbath. And it should be, because the earth was made in the 7 days, and he rested on the 7th day. And we're approaching, set the beginning of 7,000 years since Adam. Adam was 4,000 BC. Jesus Christ would make it 0. And then from Jesus Christ to now is 6,000 years. So in 2033, we will be past the 6th day. And we all know that's not a great thing. And then it's going to rest. And there will be a rest in heaven. And then for about an hour, and then the trumpets will start to blow. And that's when things start getting tore up and burned up and toasted and crisped and all of that stuff. And I'm sure all of the tribes of the earth will mourn. And before that day, I'm going to do my very best to read you every document that is relative to that, whether they call them apocryphal or hidden or whatever they're going to call them. I'm going to try my best to spread the useful word of the Lord and tell you the things that I'm reading, tell you how I'm deciphering these seals, and I'm just going to tell you where I'm going with this stuff, man. You know, these, I feel like, are the 7 seals. These are 1,000-year periods. And we're getting toward the end of the 6th day right there. That's the 7th seal. He opened the first seal on day 1. Then 1,000 years later, that's the red horse of war. There's the white horse said go out and have dominion of the earth. That's exactly what he told Adam to do. Go out and dominate the earth and spread over the earth and breed and multiply. And then he gave man a bow as a sign, and that's right there, the first horse of war. And first horse. Then the red horse of war is the one where the watchers created swords and made swords. 222 people in the room. There you go. Thank you so much, man. I certainly appreciate y'all following. And then 1,000 years later is the black horse with the balance beams and the scales. And it says, give me 2 measures of barley for a penny. That was the famine in Egypt right there that he escaped from. And then 1,000 years later is David. And David was the pale horse. And those are the 4 horses right there, the 4 horsemen right there. And David was the pale horse. Remember, David got no heat. And the last words of David were spoken in the middle of the Bible that's describing his life. And then he got no heat. And they tried to put all kinds of women with him and all to warm him up. And he was pale. And I just know that. And hell followed with him. And that's his boy Solomon right there that built that temple. And then it says the 5th seal, when the 5th seal was broken, he looked underneath the altar of God and saw those that were given for the testimony of God. And that's Revelation chapter 20, when Jesus descended into the lower parts of the earth and locked the devil away. And then 1,000 years after that is a little season when Satan will be released. And 1,000 years after that is going to be the 6,000th year, the 6th day, 2033, is 2,000 years after Christ was crucified. And 2,000 years, if you use Jubilees as a period of time, which is 50 years, it's a 40-year quadrant of Jubilees. And that's 2,000 years. And it makes exact sense. But, that's just what and the 4 horses, they said that when they went through Jerusalem, that they received their white robes and washed them in the Jordan. And the 4 horses of the apocalypse are those colors right there. And just know that where they went was over the Jordan. And that's the truth about that. I hope this is all sort of making sense to y'all. The Jordan, I can show you where that is. They bound Azazel right there, hand and foot. And they said, put him in Dudil. He's right there. And that's the Jordan River right there. That's Tiberias. So they're right there. Mount Hermon's right there. How long have we been on for? 2 hours and 40 minutes.
Long time.
All right. Let one with ears hear. There you go, man. I tell you what, got the ears, you hear it, start listening to it, help me put this together, and we're working on this together. Got the next book that I'm doing is the 7 Seals. I can tell you right now that I'm putting the 7 Seals book together for you. This is another great work of art. It tells you all about the first seal being Adam, how he was the white horse, had the crown, dominate, how he was given a bow without arrows, there was a bow and a rainbow and conquer the earth. And then the 2nd seal was the fallen angels right there, man. They made swords. They were given a great sword. The 3rd is the black horse. That's Abraham. And he was in Egypt when there was a famine and they overcharged everybody for all of the stuff, and he had to escape from the famine and the overcharging of Pharaoh. Then the 4th seal is the pale horse. Year 1000. That's David. And He was pale. David got no heat. I think that Goliath's brother, I think he had a detrimental effect on David's life because Goliath, the dude that fought David, and they thought that David was dead, he girt a new sword, and that sword was the sword that he got from David, and it's Goliath's sword. And David had just gotten that from the temple when he went in there to go get the bread, and he goes, "Hey man, I got my weapons with me. You got any weapon?" He goes, "Yeah, I got a sword in the back." And he goes, "Ooh, there's none like this one," and it was Goliath's sword. That. Will you post your book for sale? I sure am. I sure will. I just literally finished it, and I mean, the ink. I just glued this demo together. This is a demo, and I want to tell you this. It's like 50 pages, and got a hard card stock. What's that stuff? Parchment cover, but it goes through all of the acts of Pilate, all the way to the end, and even says, "Hey man, what do we do at the end?" This is probably 35 pages, and but I tell you what I want to do with both of these books, because I've got them done. All those pictures that I have when I sell these books, they're going in the back of that, and those maps out of my old Bible, they'll go in there, because if I'm going to mail somebody going to buy this, if I can mail you something, then I can mail you all those pictures, and they'll be on a whole sheet of paper like that. Honey, I need you. Oh, that's my wife. I love it. All right, it is. It is bedtime for Bonzo. I love y'all. Thank y'all so much for joining me. We will be back tomorrow at 7 o'clock, and that's my Jubilee. Y'all are going to trip out on that one. I'll get it loaded in. AJ will load up the lives, and we'll have it all in there. Just put that last live in there. So I'll get the study guides out for you, and we're going to kill this right off. I certainly appreciate that. Let's say a prayer real quick. Dear Jesus Christ, please keep in our life. Please fill our heads with your spirits and have no room for anything else but your love. Please, Lord, let us see this world through your eyes. Let us hear this world with your ears. Let us love this world with your heart. And in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I appreciate that, man. I always pray that every morning. I always pray to see the world through his eyes. Man, I mean to tell you, I told you this morning, I said, I saw